wrote notes? How's that?
Tucked away in Canada's Northwest Territories is an area of outstanding natural beauty.
I love the way this
inaccessible
looks.
by conventional means.
Like the way
For
they
decades, people have crossed
parallax
its
the
boundaries
water.
in search of a
Looks
great
so cool.
fortune which is rumoured to lie there. Many have emerged empty-handed, but yet more have never returned at all. Is there something in the Nahani Valley?
Nahani Valley. It's in Canada, I think.
Hi guys, it's Simon from Bedtime Stories.
Has anyone ever done this before? This hunt-a-killer thing before?
Hunt-a-Killer is a subscription game.
Has anyone tried this? I've seen a bunch of YouTubers chilling this before as a sponsor. Usually like similar YouTubers, but it actually looks kind of cool. I'd like to try it out sometime. I've seen it advertised like for years now. I'm just curious if anyone's ever tried it.
Pausing in order to take his bearings, Lefebvre turned to assess how far behind his companions were lagging. Predictably, the pair were still some distance away.
Weren't we just talking about Mounties the other day?
To negotiate the scattered trails and passageways between the towering boulders.
We were just talking about the Mounties.
Smiling to himself, he reached into his pack for a slice of dried bison before continuing on his way. The seasoned trapper had been travelling with the two Mounties for the past 3 days, and so far, neither had been able to match his pace.
How's the volume? Go up a little
He
bit?
would be lying if he said he took no pleasure in their discomfort,
Like that.
having no love either for the RCMP or the obnoxious officers they employed.
And that would have answered
But
my
it had
question
been a
because we're
tough
talking about the
year,
RCMP.
And despite his dislike of the police, they were paying good money for him to escort them.
Like who
And
was in
they
charge
had
of the
little
Mounties?
choice.
Nice, get
The
those shots,
section
dude.
of the flat river which they needed to reach was a great distance from the nearest settlement, with few guides ever having been there. From what he understood, they were searching for a prospector at the behest of his fiancée. Apparently,
mouse off the screen,
missing
sorry.
man had failed to turn up for his own wedding, with Lefebvre suspecting this would most likely be a case of cold feet, rather than anything more sinister.
Cold feet.
He had travelled a short distance more when something caused him to stop again.
What is
There,
that?
not far from the trail, was the badly decayed body of a lynx, trapped in a snare which had been concealed.
Can't not think of trying to cross
The
when I
sight
see a
of the
lynx
dead
now.
animal made Lefebvre uneasy. It was unusual for a man to set a trap in this part of the world and then to forget about it. The old trapper was stood, munching thoughtfully on his bison when the two lawmen finally caught up to him. They seemed predictably uninterested in the discovery, despite Lefebvre's observations.
There's not even
And so
any
in due
bison around
course,
anymore, are there?
Their journey continued.
Canada, maybe?
But it soon became clear that there was something
We like
to the
hunt them to
trapper's
extinction here?
concerns. The travellers began to encounter more traps, each filled with the undisturbed and decomposing carcasses of lynxes and foxes.
There's some in Yellowstone. Buffalo,
Lefebvre
I'm
took
thinking of.
little satisfaction in watching as
I
the two
guess Buffalo,
policemen
too,
slowly
for
began
that
to
matter.
comprehend the importance of the unattended traps, realising that their mission now looked far less hopeful than when they had first set off.
You buy bison at
A
Walmart.
short time later, they
Like-
encountered a half-submerged boat,
Against a pet.
trapped by undergrowth at the side of the river. A cursory inspection suggested it had most likely been holed by rocks, but there was no trace of the owner. They were only a short distance from Irving Creek now, and their destination, but there was a visible quickening in the pace of each man.
Are there no buffaloes, though, or are there just, like, very
The
few?
fate of the log cabin was evident before it came into view, with
thought
the
there
air
was one of
ahead
them.
thick with the scent of burned wood and must. Lefebvre had stood back and watched as the Mounties unholstered their weapons and approached what little remained of the burned-out structure.
Where's his head?
He was more interested in what might be hidden in the trees which surrounded them, rather than the blackened ruins before them. When he eventually moved up to join the two officers, he was surprised to see the missing man's furs and supplies untouched, stacked up in a neat pile a short distance away from where the cabin had stood. The prospector's body lay nearby, his rifle beside him, with its barrel crudely bent out of shape, and in one charred hand he was clutching a six-shooter.
So what happened to his head?
But it was the missing head that most disturbed the trapper.
It was Bigfoot.
Lefebvre had grown up hearing stories of what happened to the people who died in this valley, and had no intention of joining their ranks. He made it clear to his customers
who else
that
is
he would
going
be
to tear
heading back
someone's
to
head off?
civilization within the hour,
Clearly it was Bigfoot.
with or without them. No arrests would be made for the murder of Phil Powers.
Yeah, it'd be cool to go to
sadly,
Yellowstone someday.
He would not be the last man to die in such circumstances in this place. To the wider world, it is known as the Nahani Valley, but to those who have visited it, it goes by a much more sinister name: the Headless Valley. The Nahani River Valley contains some of the most stunning scenery in the Northwest Territories, as well as the area's highest peak, Mount Nirvana. Its beauty has resulted in it being designated a National Park Reserve, one which covers a breathtaking 12,000 square miles.
I don't know, I love that picture.
There is a reason why the
Canada has so
forests
many
and flowing
fucking
waterfalls have
insane
remained
places
untouched
that-
by modern civilization.
Yeah, you just can't get to.
The terrain that surrounds them is so unforgiving that the only viable way to access the region is by helicopter,
That's crazy.
a luxury which was unavailable to prospectors back when gold was first discovered there at the turn of the 20th century. Those willing to gamble everything on a chance at finding an untapped
There could
seam of
totally
the
be like
precious
some
metal
animals out there that
had
people
little
just
choice
have
other
never
than to
seen.
trek into the depths of the valley, living out
Recorded.
in temporary camps or hastily constructed cabins. They would not be heard from for months on end, most usually emerging from the forests with nothing to show for their labours. But in 1904, two brothers staggered back into the town of Fort Liard laden with gold.
Liat.
Frank and Willie McLeod had journeyed to the region from their home in Edmonton at the start of the year, claiming to have located a hidden and vast fortune, which they would later be returning to claim. The following year, having invested their wealth in tools and supplies, the pair disappeared back into the valley, boasting of the riches waiting there to be mined. As time passed, the people they had promised
Edmonton
to share their
seems
booty
like
with waited
just like-
patiently for their return.
It would be so cold
but
all
they
the time.
never reappeared.
Like one of those cities is like, damn, you guys are way the fuck up there.
3 years after
Thank you,
the
Liz.
brothers were last seen, Charlie McLeod led a party into the Nahani
Calgary?
Valley in search of his missing siblings. The skeletons of the two men were eventually found lying
sounds
in
cold.
the ruins of their camp, both missing their heads. One of the pair was lying underneath a stack of blankets next to what had once been a fire, indicating that he was decapitated as he slept. On the other side of the fire, his brother's arm was reaching out for a nearby gun, his blankets thrown aside as he tried to prevent his own death. A decade later, another search party would venture forth into the valley.
Yeah, I
this
shouldn't
time
talk.
in
It
search
fucking
of a missing
snowed
man named Martin
here the past 2
Jorgensen.
days.
The
Fucking
Swedish
crazy.
national was a hardy prospector who had spent decades plying his trade all around the Yukon. In 1917, Jorgensen had sent a message to the neighbouring town of Ross River, telling a friend there named Poole Field that he had struck it rich. This was the last that was heard from him, and the following year, Field located Jorgensen lying dead in his burned-out cabin, his head missing. 4 years later, a pair of prospectors stumbled across the frozen body of a trapper named John O'Brien. The former soldier had survived the horrors of the Great War, only to meet his fate in the Nahani Valley, and the manner of his death would prove shocking to those who found him. O'Brien was sat fully clothed and frozen next to the smouldering remains of his campfire. It was as if he had been suddenly and unexpectedly flash frozen,
The fuck?
a mug of coffee still clutched tightly in one hand,
Bigfoot
despite
blizzard
being
power?
sat right beside
Just like froze the guy
a
to
roaring
death?
fire.
Is that really the only explanation for that?
Not long after the discovery of the frozen trapper, another body would be found in a hauntingly familiar
Yeah, at least it's all like
location.
melting really quick.
Yukon Fisher was a notorious local troublemaker
Yukon
who had
Fisher.
made his home in the depths of the valley back in 1912.
That's the guy's name?
Described by those who had encountered him as a giant of a man, the outlaw had fled civilization after severely wounding a barman with a broken glass during a drunken fight.
Like, this sounds
Though the injury he had
plausible,
caused
though.
was severe, the victim had
Plausible,
ultimately
rather.
lived.
Plausible.
But the amount of blood loss had convinced Fisher he had killed his opponent. Even when told by visitors to the area that he was not a murderer,
Is there a specific
Fisher
cryptid that
refused
does
to
this?
return to
I think it's
society,
Bigfoot.
surviving by raiding the camps of prospectors and stealing from the snares of local hunters.
Beating people up and
And
ripping
then
their heads off.
he seemingly vanished from existence. In 1927, the skeleton of a tall man was found lying in the undergrowth near Bennett Creek, mere yards away from where the bodies of the McLeod brothers had been slain. A .44 caliber rifle lay on the ground alongside it, the barrel inexplicably bent out of shape, and the burned remains of a shelter were also located nearby.
How are all these shelters burning? Who the fuck
Equally
is
as
burning them
disturbing
all?
as the killings which have taken place in the Nahani Valley
Definitely
are the
like fucking
disappearances of travelers
bandits or
within its
something like that.
boundaries. And the circumstances regarding how some of these poor souls have vanished are as baffling as the manner in which the murdered victims were found.
Bigfoot says a great grasp of fire.
In 1926,
See, there he is. It's
May
Bigfoot.
Lafferty was a member of a hunting party which had ventured into the Headless Valley. Somehow she became separated from the rest of her group. Despite repeated search efforts, no trace of the missing woman was to
Yeah,
be
maybe they
found,
pissed him off then.
until several months later, when a native hunter named Big Charlie claimed to have seen a woman matching her description.
Big Charlie?
The hunter stated that he had been travelling through the valley when he had caught sight of a woman climbing a nearby rock face. She was naked and visibly distressed, as if trying to escape from someone or
The fuck?
something. When pressed on who he thought her pursuer might be, Charlie replied that he had not intervened, as he believed it to be the devil himself. Lafferty's remains have never been located, and at the time she went missing, she was not far from the Flat River.
Good job, Big Charlie. You fucking big pussy.
2 years after she vanished, another party travelling alongside the same stretch of water would also lose one of its number. To those who knew him, Angus Hall was a tempestuous and impulsive character. When the party he was with would not increase their pace, he had set off alone, determined to be the first to find evidence of a hidden gold seam. Hall's companions had allowed the prospector on his way, knowing it was best not to reason with him, and had followed his tracks as he pushed on. But several meters along the path, these tracks had suddenly ceased mid-stride. All that remained of Angus Hall was one final muddy boot print, as if he had been lifted off the ground by something as he walked.
It's
Then,
like
in
Looney Tunes.
1936, 2 more prospectors
Isn't that
vanished.
literally a scene from like Looney Tunes when someone's
Bill
like
Eppier and
walking
his partner,
and someone
Joe
just like
Mulholland,
picks them
had
up?
spent years in the Nahani Valley in search of fortune.
You know what the fuck I'm talking about?
The remains of their log cabin were found burned out on the shores of Glacier Lake, but the bodies of both men were not inside, and have never been
What
found.
it reminds me of. The fact they didn't find their
As with the
remains too
killing
is
of
pretty
Phil Powers
sketchy.
in
But like they
1931,
could be anywhere.
No person has ever been arrested for any of the murders which have taken place in the valley. When asked who they believe to be
Like trying to search for a body up there
members
must
of
be
the
like
native
fucking
Dene
insane.
tribe have laid the blame firmly at the door of a mysterious and enigmatic community.
Especially 40 years ago.
The Nahar people are
100
said to
years
be
ago.
the original inhabitants of the Nahani Valley, but shunned contact with other tribes. Their name translates as the people over there,
That's fucking
in
creepy.
reference to the distance they kept from their neighbours, and they were believed to possess almost supernatural powers. Nahar warriors were described as being exceptionally tall and powerful. They were immensely strong and hid their faces behind terrifying masks.
I thought that was Corpse Husband for a
The
second. I
tribe
was
is
like, what the hell
rumoured
is
to have
happening?
died out centuries ago, but unlike similar societies, left no buildings or settlements behind.
Sus as fuck.
They simply disappeared into the mists of their surroundings. The Dene claimed that the Nahar would cut off the heads of those that strayed into their territory, as a warning to other trespassers to stay away, and that the killings are the work of the descendants of this murderous people. In
Jeez.
1945, It was reported that a miner named Ernest Savard had been found dead in the Nahani Valley. The Ontario native was lying in his sleeping bag.
Stop zooming in on this guy's face.
Been cut from his shoulders.
Too scary.
And propped upon a nearby rock. As recently as 1983, a hiker in Canada's Glacier Bay stumbled upon the belongings of a missing prospector.
Harry Potter.
The witness reported hearing a ghostly moaning coming from the surrounding undergrowth, before catching sight of a mysterious masked figure approaching, who he quickly fled from. The slayings of prospectors in this region are eerily reminiscent of identical killings in Arizona's Superstition Mountains.
Well, you can't call it the Superstition Mountains and not expect some fucking wild shit to happen.
Lying in an undisclosed mine, named the Lost Dutchman's Gold Mine. Many victims of these killings have also been found headless.
Yeah, that's concerning.
Other, more fantastical explanations for the killings have also been suggested. Drawings found in nearby caves show what appear to be mastodons, with the bones of these ancient creatures also located by archaeological digs.
Kind of werecat?
Is it possible that there are prehistoric species protected by the isolated nature of this environment?
That would be pretty awesome.
One such creature alleged to inhabit the valley is known by the Dene as the Wahila.
Never heard of this.
From the descriptions provided by their writings, this monster is some form of amphibian, a cross between a bear and a wolf.
What?
It would crush its prey to death with powerful arms, before feasting on their remains.
Whose OC is that?
It is possible that such a creature might also be the descendant of the direwolf, another prehistoric species believed to be extinct. There are also rumours of a race of strange creatures known as the Nuk-Nuk, fur-covered humanoids who carry primitive clubs and cook the bodies of those they kill before eating them.
Okay, I don't know about that.
A string of UFO sightings throughout the region's history completes the full set of supernatural explanations.
Sprinkle in the UFO encounters.
And whilst the prevailing belief is that the victims of the Headless Valley are most likely the victims of greedy and far more human killers,
yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
The haunting stillness of the region makes such propositions seem entirely plausible. As with the legend of the Lost Dutchman's mine, it seems that mysterious forces seek to frustrate the efforts of people to mine gold from beneath the surface of
during the gold rush,
continent.
if you go into a big town and you start saying,
such killers are
"We found a bunch of gold out in these mountains,"
altogether human,
like probably somebody is gonna fucking follow you, or like, you know, is up to no good.
If you find yourself gripped by
that's like the kind of people that were
fortune in the untouched wilds of
attracted
North
to the
America,
gold rush cities
take
and stuff like
from
that.
The fates of those who have gone before you.
It was like people who were making money as easy as
victim
possible, so they're definitely down with killing people occasionally. If you like go into town and you start telling people you found gold out there, probably a good way to get killed. That was a good one. I like that one a lot. I like that one. What else do we have here? What else? Let's watch that chapter episode. Fuck it. Warning, this does have like 911 calls in it and stuff like that. But I really like this channel.
My name is Mike, and in this whole video we are heading back once again to Kalamazoo, which
switch it up a bit. Kalamazoo.
Which is still fun to say. Now, like the story of Jared Chance, this one
what is up with New
another
Mexico?
Jay.
It's like super
Jason Dalton. He was an Uber driver.
Crazy.
And one day in February 2016, he would say the Uber logo was talking to him, telling him what to do. I mean, that's what he said. If you haven't guessed, it's weird.
Nah, New Mexico.
That day he would get up to
I
some
thought it was New Mexico. Was it Michigan?
And a bit more than that.
I guess we could have a few Kalamazoos.
What do you say? Let's give it a go.
I thought this one was in New Mexico. I could have sworn.
On the 20th of February,
I guess not.
2016, downtown
New Mexico
Kalamazoo
does not
was
have
hitting
a
highs
giant
of 12,
body of water
13
next to it.
degrees Celsius. And it was looking to be a sunny
Is it? I
Saturday
can't
as,
even see it.
well, you're hoping the worst of winter
Sorry.
is behind you. It wasn't that day. And it started.
This
at
this
4:30
channel's called
PM.
That Chapter. He's
That
Irish.
day,
His name's
Matt
Mike.
Mellon requested an Uber to drive him over to a friend's house.
He's
to pick up his
done
car in Kalamazoo. The
collabs
driver
with like
who was coming over
Rainbot
was the
before and a few other
relatively
people you may know.
well-reviewed Jason
I
Dalton.
like him.
Jason arrived in a silver Chevy Equinox. His dog Mia chilling out in the back seat. So they started, driving along, and what started out as a normal grand old Uber drive, changed in the blink of an eye. The driver took a call on his Bluetooth. Matt wasn't really paying attention, so, didn't really listen. It was Jason's son asking if he wanted dinner. But after that, Jason all of a sudden seemed to lose his friggin' mind. He started driving all over the place, going through stop signs, hitting cars, bombing it along footpaths even, just
Why?
pedal to the metal, trying to empty the gas tank. Matt Mellon, sitting in the passenger seat, was shitting himself.
Why you do
As
that?
you can imagine. Let me out, let me out, let me out, let me. Jason's tone throughout all of this mad driving was completely normal though, as he was, doing Grand Theft Auto. Nice weather, isn't it? Eventually, Jason brought the car to a skidding stop, and Matt tumbled out. And Jason burned some rubber, took off once again. Matt called 911 at this stage. There's a madman on the loose.
Fucking makes Uber sound scary, dude.
Hi, I'd like to
I guess it is
report
kind
a,
of scary.
Crazy driver. I just got an Uber to my friend's house, and on the way there, he was driving neurotic down West Main. He hit a car. He drove through the woods, and I finally just jumped out.
Did you want to talk to an officer, or you just want me to put out an alert over the radio?
I just wanted to report it because I don't want someone to get hurt.
Why are you asking me? We're fucking.
But I need to know if you want to talk to an officer, or if you want me to have an officer, just have the officers just be on the lookout for it.
I don't know what I would say to that.
Okay, thank you.
And Matt wasn't the only one who called
I don't
this
like
in.
that. I don't like that interaction.
By a silver Traverse going southbound on Douglas, probably every bit of 100 miles an hour.
There was a man going roughly 70, 80 miles an hour, weaving in and out of both lanes of traffic.
This silver SUV just slammed on its brakes outside my house.
Okay.
And threw out a guy.
Matt's girlfriend posted on Facebook telling everybody don't get an Uber with this fella.
That's fucking creepy.
The story gets a lot crazier from there. So the police were on the lookout.
If I saw
but
that
there
when I
wasn't a
logged
whole
into
lot they
Facebook,
could
I'd be
do,
like,
if the
fuck?
police themselves didn't witness the erratic and dangerous driving. From there, Jason drove back home, went in the door, had a glass of the ale Ishka, then he grabbed a gun, a bulletproof vest, and headed out once again. Things you need for a regular day. Just
what do you want, an
He was
officer?
then back as an Uber driver for hire. At 5:42
that
p.m., a
dispatcher was
teenager
not
named
good.
Macy ordered an Uber. Unluckily for her, it would be Jason. He arrived at her apartment complex but couldn't find Macy. He was driving around a parking lot, she was texting him. Long story short, they couldn't find each other. So luckily for her. However, living in one of the apartments was a woman named Tiana Caruthers. She was crossing the parking lot with her child and a few other kids. Jason pulled up to her, asking if she was Macy. She said no, and Jason drove off.
The fuck?
He then flipped the car around, drove back towards Tiana and the kids, and pulled out his gun. He opened fire.
What the
He fired
fuck?
14 shots, and Tiana was shot 4 times. Thankfully, none of the kids were hurt. And Jason, he then
Damn.
sped off to do worse. He clipped a car on his way out. Tiana
That's
was
like his
rushed to
MO.
hospital, and after a number of surgeries, she would make a full recovery.
Okay, so female's down. She's
No,
been
she's okay.
shot.
Don't move.
Okay, where's the person that shot her?
I don't know. The car.
Yeah, it's like a
sped
true
off,
crime
please.
thing.
So now word in Kalamazoo was beginning to spread. Silver SUV driving all over the gap with a poor dog in the back seat. Not a fan of that now. Because Jason hit a car while speeding away, it was now identifiable.
I mean, it is a scary story.
I was involved in an accident where a guy ran a red light and hit me in the minute.
And Matt, the first passenger, He sent the police a name and an image of the driver. Jason then called his wife and asked her to meet him at his parents' house. He wanted to change cars because obviously there's a big dent in his. And his parents were out of town, so he's like, "Grant." So he met his wife there, went into his parents' house, grabbed another gun, gave it to his wife, and he said, "I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. Just watch the news." Completely normal thing to say, right? No, she recognized he was acting batshit bananas. He had crazy eyes, full-on Manson lamps. He then took his parents' car, a black Chevy, and went off
was
once
claiming he was
again.
possessed
So
and
the
stuff.
police obviously were looking for the wrong car. He then drove back home, changed pistols,
Scary story.
and went out for more Uber rides. Busy tonight? Buddy, you wouldn't believe. His passengers, by the way, said he was fine. He was singing along to the radio, having a great old time. He told them he had car trouble, hence the different car. It was just after 10 PM that the shit really hit the fan. Jason arrived at a Kia dealership in Kalamazoo. There, father and son, Rich and Tyler Smith, were kicking the tires on some cars. Tyler, 17 years old, was looking to get a truck. Tyler's girlfriend Alexis remained in the Smith's car as she had no interest in trucks and it was cold outside.
So
Jason
he
pulled up
basically
as Rich and
goes
Tyler were
on
looking
a
at
fucking
Ford
killing spree.
F-150, and he got out of his truck and walked over. He asked the father and son
But
what they were
they
looking.
catch him
He wanted to
eventually.
take his family to Disney World, and he was well reviewed to date.
I'll skip
Before
all
this
the
happened, he
grisly
passed a background
details.
check during high school. His two loves were cars and guns. He started collecting guns after he had a break-in, and some of his prized tools related to his other hobby were stolen. He'd only been an Uber driver for about 2 weeks before this happened. He passed their background checks, no criminal record or vehicle reports. He was Ubering as a side gig, and he was doing it to get some extra money for a vacation. He wanted to take his family to Disney World, and he was well reviewed to date. That morning, he was apparently completely normal, got up like any other Saturday. His family and a friend he met said he seemed totally fine, not acting strange.
Yeah, he tries to explain
at
it.
all.
Just keep watching.
He'd been to a gun store earlier that day where he bought a holster and a jacket. The jacket had like a holster inside
Yeah,
it.
the
but he
channel's
didn't
called
even
That
use
Chapter.
the jacket that day. The
Go on,
only
look it up.
thing that seemed
I love
even,
this. I would recommend this
tiny bit
channel
strange
if you like the
was that Jason's wife
true
Carol
crime
said
stuff.
in the couple of days leading up,
He does
just
a
seemed
lot
bit
of
down,
videos.
maybe a bit depressed. And
Very
Jason
consistent.
Said, just tired from day job and Uber job. So then, what happened? Well, usually in these cases of shootings, killings, all this kind of stuff, there's usually build-up signs, giveaways leading up to, right? That guy was always acting a bit off. He'd been saying some weird shit beforehand. There was some kind of sign. Not in this one. He wasn't political, religious,
I'm sure there's some
conspiratorial,
fucking weird shit.
ideological at all, really. His victims were random. He had no criminal background at all in himself or his family. And he had no history of mental illness. I say that because when he was being interviewed by the police, he told them why he did it.
Take your sweatshirt off there, please. Yep, go ahead.
Now, he wouldn't answer, he pled the fifth again and again and again, until he finally spat it out.
Hey, Jason. Hi. How you doing, man? Good. How are you?
I think he put the vest on, right? The vest wasn't from them.
Not really, though. What's going on?
I know you want an explanation.
You can get one. Because you're not this guy. No.
If you guys only knew, it would blow your mind.
Okay.
Why he did it. What made him do it? Uber. He was possessed by the app. Yeah. Phone's talking to me. Wait, no, that's a phone call. Hello. This is what the app looked like back in 2016. This is the driver one, not the passenger app. Jason said that it looked like, to him, the symbol of the Eastern Star. A Masonic symbol. Need I say more? Some sick shit, I think. He then tapped it, and it turned into the devil. It then took over his body.
Were those
made
the
him
eyes
do
of Sauron?
everything that happened. Guys, I'm the real victim here. Blame the phone.
I recognize the symbol that's on Uber.
Uh-huh.
Could you bring my phone up to me so I can see it?
I have the Uber thing on here.
Can I see it, please? On Uber, when I clicked it, it went chink. and then there was like a double head that popped up.
Tink.
And I pressed that button, and that's where all the problems went after that. I've experienced the full body takeover. It literally has control of you. I would have never done any of these atrocities.
Why would you push it then? Yeah.
What made you get your firearms tonight? The app, the Uber?
Yeah.
Is it an anime?
What made you put the vest on too?
Death car?
Do you remember shooting people?
There's like little spots where it pops in and pops out.
Now, that was what he said happened. Whether
Yeah,
you
that's who
believe
pretend
that
here.
or not is a completely other question, because a
That's-
lot of people said,
Yeah, that's what
Go
everyone. Yeah,
on.
exactly.
you're bullshitting us.
Exactly.
All right, court calls the case of State of Michigan versus Jason Brian Dalton, file number 160287FY. Are you Jason Brian Dalton?
Yes.
Is there anything you wish to tell the court at this time concerning your connections with the community?
I would prefer just remain silent.
Very good.
Very good.
Jason was charged
Judge
with
reminded me of,
6
like, David
counts of
Lynch.
murder, 2 counts of assault with intent to commit murder, and 8 counts of using a firearm during the commission of a felony. He was ordered to undergo a psychiatric evaluation to see if he was competent to stand trial. And 3 months after the shooting, Jason appeared in court for a preliminary hearing to see if there was enough evidence to try him.
This part is pretty intense.
While Tiana Caruthers was making her victim statement, he started spouting out weird shit about plastic black bags.
And I saw a gun.
Navigator cars. No, they gave bags. These old people, they have these old black bags. They're called they're black.
He has like an outburst. He starts talking about like garbage bags. And the poor lady like starts crying. I don't really
All
wanna.
shown on a video screen in court as Caruthers composed herself to describe how she protected kids.
That's
from
the woman who
shooter.
was shot 4
She was
times by
shot
him.
4 times.
So was he really crazy, or was he just, this
Who made,
sort
like,
of
a-
crazy person sounds like I'm weird and
Right.
crazy. But
That's
if
what
he
they're trying to
wasn't
figure out.
crazy, then... The trial was due to begin on January 7th, 2019. But before it could, Jason Dalton pled guilty on all counts.
You're doing this voluntarily of your own free will.
Yes, I've wanted this for quite a while.
Understand that if you change your mind or say that you didn't want to enter a plea, the testimony you're giving right now can be used to support the fact that the plea is voluntary at this time. You understand that?
Yes. Guilty. 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 Guilty.
So he basically fucking. I think he basically just
It
says,
seemed
"Yeah,
that the
I'm
insanity
gonna.
defense wasn't going to work.
I'm
And he
completely."
was going to be ruled competent to stand trial,
Right.
so he wanted to get ahead of that. So, regardless, in February 2019, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
You, Jason Brian Dalton, be remanded to the custody of the Michigan Department of Corrections for assessment and sentencing for a period of life without the possibility of parole as mandated by statute.
One kind of funny thing that happened was that in 2016, after his arrest, a letter came out apparently written by Jason saying he was going to sue Uber for $10 million because they took over his mind and body. This letter was later determined to be fake, just like many believe Jason's insanity. I mean, that to me is
Well,
the
how is it
weirdest thing
fake?
about
Were they
this
just
case.
like?
On one hand, people think he faked.
Was it like a
that
random
he just made
person
up
or
that
what?
Uber app was talking to him because he would go act mad, driving around.
$10 million.
shooting people, and then go back to being completely normal and picking up passengers and going about his normal day to day. Then he would go back to shooting again, saying the devil was controlling him. But when he was arrested, he was completely normal, and he was completely normal before and after. On the other hand, if he wasn't crazy, then what would cause you to do what he did that day? Maybe he just snapped, went postal, though he had plenty of chances to stop himself and he didn't. And it escalated throughout the day. It started off with driving crazy, then it was shooting at a woman with kids. Thankfully, like, nobody was killed. And then he killed 2 people, and then he killed 4. What would he have done if he wasn't arrested? Jason won't be going anywhere anytime soon, but hey, he might not be, just seeing the devil in the app anymore. He left a wake of devastation behind him for, what seems like no good reason. Not that any reason, though, would be an adequate one. But I guess to Jason it was a friggin' devil app talking to him. You wouldn't know what kind of devilment Uber would have you do. Wait, are we sure he wasn't just
I don't think I believe the devil app thing at all. That seems like something you saw, like, he would see on, like, Law and Order or something, you know what I mean?
I really appreciate it.
And just, like, be like, yeah,
listen here,
it was the devil.
Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you as always real soon in the next video. Until then, all the best. Mike out.
Yeah, I really like that channel, that chapter. He used to cover just like everything, basically. Like weird internet things. Now he's just like kind of does like true crime. There's a couple of really good ones that, like Dwight Jones, that I didn't know a lot about. What the hell is it? Joel Guy Jr. That was one that was very strange. Have you ever watched like Forensic Files or anything like that? It's like the same. It's like everyone has already covered all these murders and stuff like that a million times. It's just kind of like who you want to hear it from. Or like last podcast on the left does a lot of these two now. I think Rainbot does mostly like true crime stuff now too. Next. Try to find one of these we haven't watched yet. Fascinating Horror. I don't know if I've seen that one. Usually I'll like put those on to fall asleep too. Like fucking like B-Buster or Mortis Media or something like that. Like something to kind of like focus on and just like pass out.
Why does she even need us for this?
I hope this one's good. Back to Life of Luxury.
Bro, she thinks that doll is her daughter. Oh. Bro, look at these pictures.
Real quick before
You
we
think she's
start,
okay?
I just want to say thank you so much for 3 million subscribers. It's unbelievable. We never really pictured getting to this point, but it's clear that you guys love our videos, so we're going to keep making them because we want to make all of
How many subscribers do they have now? 4.5 million.
you happy. We have a lot of surprises coming for you guys, so smash that subscribe button and notification bell to stay tuned.
1 second.
Hello, Lux Army. Let's smash 100,000 likes for more.
Literally just said that.
Emma. Emma is afraid that someone has been trying to break into her house at night.
Alright, fuck that up.
She says she's been seeing someone outside of her windows watching her, but by the time she calls for help, they've disappeared. Emma says she even caught this person trying to pick her
Disappeared.
lock at 3 in the morning. She sent us this video for proof. Now, Emma says that she's so horrified of this person that she can no longer sleep at night, and she wants us to come to her house to help her immediately. So tonight we're going to head out to Emma's house to see what.
It sounded like she was trying to like pick the lock with a fucking fork.
Dude, I'm really creeped out by that video Emma sent us. Why do you think someone's trying to break into her house like that?
I have no idea. I mean, there's a million reasons.
Why does she even need us for this? Can't she just call the police or something?
Bro, the police aren't going to stay with her there all night.
Imagine if it was like because of Pokemon cards or something like that.
Why should we get involved in this?
Bro, this girl's scared and she's asking for our help. We can't just ignore someone who's in need.
Whatever.
Yeah, you didn't see the big disclaimer at the beginning? This is for comedic purposes only.
Bro, we're here.
This is it?
Bro, this neighborhood looks so unsafe. People are probably breaking into houses around here all the time.
Bro, do you want to help this girl or not?
Okay, we're already here.
Okay.
Can't you tell how fucking serious these guys are?
We're gonna be fine. Okay, so I guess this is the place.
If it was like Pokemon cards are involved in some way, it would be amazing. Dude, she has a first edition Charhazard. Her mom is trying to steal it. A Radio Shack security system? Fucking sick, dude. Let's call up customer support. Oh, wait.
Hi. Hi. You're Emma, right? Are you Emma?
Isn't this the mom from the last
I
one?
thought you said in the email that you were 19.
I am 19.
What? Okay. Can we come inside, please?
Yeah, yes.
I'm pretty sure it's the same actress from the last one, wasn't it?
Is there somewhere we can go to sit down?
Yes.
Okay, Emma, thank you for inviting us into your house. Could you have a seat so we can talk? Please, can you sit? Okay. So you told us in the email you sent us that you think someone's...
Yeah, I wonder if
been
they like
watching
actually
you
own
through
this
the
house
window.
or if it's like an Airbnb they rent.
And you said they even tried to get in once.
Probably Airbnb. He fucking just looks at the
What do you
camera.
mean? You seemed really freaked out in that email.
Oh, don't know. I was myself.
Yeah, they always spoiler their stuff at the beginning. They give you the biggest jump scare in the show.
I just
I use the term show loosely at like the very, very beginning.
What is it? Emma, do you live alone?
My daughter's here. Do you want to see her?
I didn't know she had a daughter.
Yeah, this guy is like a clone of Zach Bagans in some ways.
Whose house are we in? Dude, that's Emma, right? I don't know, dude. I don't know who this woman is. What's she doing there?
Like Zach Bagans' little brother.
Oh, your daughter's in here?
I'm sleeping.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a good point. Zach Bagans wishes he was his original.
Do you need a bath?
Emma, can you sit down again with us, please?
He just like looks forward. Nah, it's all about
Emma,
Chester,
is there
man.
anyone else
Chester's the
here
real
to,
star
like,
of the show.
Take care of you and your daughter?
I used to live with my mother.
He's the one who carries everything on his back.
I on her dress, and when she caught me, she locked me in the closet all night.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I screamed and begged to be let out, but I eventually liked it.
Emma, listen, we want to make sure no one's trying to come in and hurt you, so we'll set up cameras. I know you wanted us to do that. I just need to go talk to Chester.
Yeah,
okay?
Chester's the man.
Go to your room with your daughter. Come on, come here.
I hope they never replace Chester. These are our ghost adventures.
Bro, she thinks that doll is her daughter.
Oh my
You're
god.
concerned about that doll right now? This isn't even the same.
It's just doing the same thing again. Is it back? No. Has it been doing this all day? The fuck, Twitch? I think we only have like a few minutes. Oh, reconnected. Hey. Yeah, just refresh. We go back a few seconds.
Dude,
what is going on in this
She
house?
thinks that doll is her daughter.
You're concerned about that doll right now? This isn't even the same girl from the email.
Bro, she said she was Emma. Is she catfishing us?
Dude, Emma's supposed to be 19. This is a middle-aged woman. How do you not see that?
Bro, look at these pictures.
How do you
It
not
looks like
see
she
that?
scratched the
You
faces off
fucking
on these.
idiot.
Who do you
Because
think
I have
those people are?
sunglasses on because you make me wear them, man. Come on.
Faces on because they died or something? Like this is how she grieves?
Ready?
Yo, look at that.
Are they strawberries?
Bro, who's supper for? The dolls?
I have no idea, bro. We need to figure out what's
Bro.
Let's set up some cameras, okay?
Okay.
Bro ghosts.
This here. Okay, that's good.
Are those little fucking GoPros? Is that what those are? Kind of expensive.
I think she's on her phone or something.
I think she's on her phone or something.
What are you doing here? Okay, I'm just gonna put this camera in your room.
Fucking stabbing her
We're gonna
daughter.
be staying in your spare bedroom tonight.
Porcelain
if that's
doll.
Okay.
Bro, why is she doing that? This is creepy.
Stop it!
She's like right there,
Okay,
dude.
so, we set up a bunch of cameras and lock the doors in case that person comes back. We'll leave you alone now.
Why are you doing
Dude, that doll looks like you.
Let's
go over.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I guess this is the room that we're gonna be staying in.
Okay.
Oh, bro, finally. 2 beds.
Well, I kind of liked it the way it was before.
You gotta be joking me right now. We finally have separate beds.
Well, do you think we could just push them together?
Dude, we are not gonna push these beds together. I'll be right back. Use the bathroom.
Come on, bro. It's cold. Oh my god, Twitch. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? It's like glitching out for me now. Oh, actually, I did drop some frames that time. But just for a second. The fuck? Man, that sucks. Is it back? Oh, okay. I guess just refresh then. What was the last thing you saw?
Really...
Them pushing the beds together?
Dude, we are not going to push these beds together. I'll be right back. Use the bathroom.
Dude, there's something really wrong with this lady, bro. Do you think she doesn't
Look at that.
like
It's
you?
like a nice big mega bed now.
She yelled at me when I was in her room.
Bro, why do you care about what this lady thinks about you?
I can't stop thinking about those dolls. Does it sound like the same girl who messaged you?
Dude, this lady does not seem mentally
Why do you care what she
I have no
thinks
idea how
about
she
you?
could have even written that email.
Because
Bro,
we're
so who is this
here
lady? Why can't we just go
investigating what?
Bro, I don't know who this lady is, but it's kind of too late to drive back now. And plus, let's just record her and make sure she's not doing anything too bad, okay? Let's go to sleep.
Okay.
Oh my god. I know, they show up at like 11 and they're like, oh, we can't leave now, man. It's too late. This fucking track. Oops. Slam my head on the fucking microphone, sorry. Well, I thought she was the mom. Wow, she's winning some fucking big awards for me. What? How? Just when you think you've seen it all. She's on the fucking wall. Yeah, they must have like put some... Look at the wall. There's like marks on the wall. Maybe they like put some like something like studded into the wall there. They like grabbed onto it. Also, look, it looks like she has a giant nose. Looks like she's like Jeff the Killer. The low resolution is like actually scary. We should only be making horror movies in like fucking 240p tops. HD horror is dumb. I think we should just stop. Lower resolution leaves more room for the imagination. No, it's 3:30.
Guys, I just came downstairs to use the bathroom, and I heard a screaming noise.
It's that one fucking stock scream. Did you hear that?
Listen. Hello?
It's like the actual girl.
Who's there? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
She locked me in here. She locked me down here.
Emma did?
I'm Emma.
Oh my god.
Emma did?
Hurry, hurry.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm gonna go get Parker.
No, wait, no, wait.
Oh no.
Yo, I don't know what's going on.
What's going on?
Yo, what's going on, dude? Dude, there's a girl down here. What are you talking about? Everyone's crazy. She locked us down here. Block the stairs. Block the stairs. What she doing, bro? What did she do to you? Oh my God, let's go. Hurry, hurry.
Maybe like untie her.
Dude, she's almost down the stairs. Come on, come on, go. Dude, hurry, hurry. She's almost behind us. Get away. Let's go, let's go. Let's go. Wait up. Let's go. Hurry, bro. You gotta drive. You gotta drive. Lady.
She left me in there.
She locked you in there? I told you I had a bad feeling about her. Okay, okay. Are you okay? What did she do? Dude, this is freaking me out. Bro, drive faster, drive faster. No, okay. Everything's gonna be all right, okay? We'll take you back to our house for now until we can figure out what's going on, okay?
Until we can figure out what's going on. It's this like quote unquote parody horror channel that has like a bunch of like fake cryptids and like weird creatures coming to people's houses called Life of Luxury.
For watching this episode. Let's try to smash 100,000 likes for the next episode to be released. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you
3
so
million
much.
subs. We're
It's super corny, but I do